Michael's hands shook as he paced the sterile hospital corridor of Denver Memorial. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, reflecting off the polished tile floor, while doctors and nurses rushed past him like a storm of urgency he couldn't control. Emily, his pregnant wife, had been rushed into emergency surgery after sudden complications. 8 months along, carrying their first child, she was fighting for both their lives, and he felt paralyzed. Every beep from the monitors inside the operating room echoed in his mind. Every shouted instruction from a nurse felt like a personal accusation. Why weren't you prepared? Why weren't you paying attention? But even as guilt clawed at him, Michael's phone vibrated in his pocket. Vanessa. We need to talk. Now. His chest tightened. Vanessa, his mistress of nearly a year, had a way of appearing at the most inconvenient moments. She wasn't just anyone. She was magnetic, insistent, dangerous in the way she knew how to manipulate him. And right now, with Emily's life hanging by a thread, he knew he shouldn't respond. He should ignore her. He should kneel in the family waiting room and pray. But instead, he found himself stepping outside into the icy Denver night. The cold hit him like a wake-up call, snowflakes clinging to his coat and hair, and still, he walked toward the hospital parking lot where Vanessa waited. She was bundled in a black coat, arms crossed, expression fierce. And beside her stood Captain Richard Harris, her father, retired Marine, a man whose mere presence could intimidate anyone who dared defy him. "You're late," Vanessa snapped, her eyes cutting into him. "You promised we'd talk about the next step." "My wife. Emily, she's in surgery," Michael said, panic edging his voice. Harris's gaze narrowed, piercing through him like steel. "Then why the hell are you here?" Michael opened his mouth, then hesitated. What could he say? That he was weak, that he craved attention, that he had no moral compass strong enough to stay by his wife's side in her hour of need. Instead, a reckless idea, stupid, selfish, dangerous, pushed him forward. He dropped to one knee. Vanessa's gasp pierced the night. Harris stiffened, jaw clenched, fists tightening in anger. Michael's hands shook as he pulled out a small velvet box. The diamond inside caught the faint light of the flickering parking lot lamp. "Vanessa Harris," he said, voice quivering, "will you marry me?" Vanessa's lips parted in shock. Harris's stare could have burned through concrete. Behind the sliding doors of the hospital, Emily's life was hanging by a thread, every second a fight she didn't deserve to fight alone. And here Michael was, kneeling in the snow, proposing to another woman while his wife risked everything. The air seemed to freeze around them. Snow continued to fall, soft and silent, blanketing the parking lot like a cruel witness to his betrayal. Michael's chest tightened with panic and desire all at once, confused emotions he could barely process. He wanted her to say yes, to validate his existence, to give him a reason to feel powerful again. But the world had already decided for him. And he hadn't even realized it yet. Vanessa's gasp echoed through the cold Denver night as Michael knelt before her, the diamond box open in his trembling hands. Her father, Captain Richard Harris, looked like he might explode, rigid as a soldier, arms crossed, eyes storming with fury. Michael's heart raced, but not with love. It was panic, desperation, and a twisted sense of entitlement. You're doing this while she's in surgery." Harris's voice was low but sharp, cutting through the quiet snowfall. "While your wife is fighting for her life, you propose to my daughter." Vanessa's eyes darted between her father and Michael. She wanted to scream, to laugh, to cry. She had expected impulsiveness, even selfishness from Michael, but this was a new level of recklessness. "Michael, I can't," she stammered, her voice trembling. Michael's chest tightened. "Vanessa, I love you. I can't." Harris stepped forward, boots crunching in the snow, a commanding presence that left Michael momentarily frozen. "Love? You call abandoning your pregnant wife love? You call risking the life of your child and lying to everyone love?" Vanessa flinched. She had always known her father would protect her from mistakes, but she didn't expect this confrontation to be so raw, so terrifying. "Dad, enough," Harris barked. "This ends now." He turned to Michael, voice deadly calm. "Go inside. Fix your life. Be a husband. Be a father. You don't get to run out here and propose like this, not to my daughter, not while your wife is bleeding in surgery." Michael's knees ached from the cold and humiliation. He felt trapped between his desire and reality. For a fleeting moment, Vanessa's silence made him think she might say yes, that she might somehow validate his madness. But the truth hit him before he could speak: she wasn't going to. Vanessa closed the velvet box with a sharp snap, the sound cutting through the night like a final verdict. "Go back inside, Michael," she said, her voice firm, unwavering. "Do what's right. Not for me, not for anyone else, but for her. For your child. Before it's too late." He looked at her, seeing anger, disappointment, and something that almost resembled pity. Harris's stare drilled into him, the weight of decades of discipline and honor pressing down like a stone. Michael's body shivered, not from the cold, but from the realization of his failure. Michael turned slowly, crushed by the weight of his choices. Every step back toward the hospital was heavy, each one a reminder of the life he might have lost, or ruined forever. Inside, Emily was fighting, the doctors struggling to save both her and the baby. And outside, the snow fell silently, a quiet witness to the man who had let temptation and weakness pull him away from everything that truly mattered. Vanessa watched him go, eyes glistening with emotion, but her resolve was firm. Harris placed a hand on her shoulder, guiding her back to the warmth of the hospital entrance. Life had given them a lesson in loyalty, integrity, and the cost of selfishness. Michael entered the hospital, hollow and broken, fully aware of the consequences he might now have to face. And somewhere in the operating room, Emily's fight for life continued, unaware, for now, of the betrayal that had nearly stolen her husband from her forever.